Hi, I'm Marty Latman. Welcome to my Networking Corner. Every month at the Networking Corner, we have different topics to discuss that will enhance your networking skills and your communication skills. Today I'd like to talk about the interview. In prior sessions, we discussed upon getting the interview, how we get them, and how do you prepare for the interview. Today, we'll talk about the interview itself. Now remember, during the interviewer is looking to accomplish three things. They want to know, can you do the job? Will you do the job? And will you fit into the company? That's what the interviewer is trying to accomplish. At the same time, there are different things that you want to accomplish, and we'll discuss that as we go on in this session today. For the interview, let's talk about the dress code. When you go to an interview, you always want to dress professionally. You also want to dress conservatively and be comfortable. Sometimes less is more. Less is better. Less perfume, less cologne. It is much better that way. At the same time, you want to be unique in your dress. Set you apart. Some of the things that you should be bringing with your interview, I'll call it your tool chest. In doing that, you want to bring the resume that you sent to the company. You want to bring some paper and pens, your personal business cards. You might want to bring a briefcase. Do not bring a backpack. It just is not professional. Okay. Remember, when you go to these interviews, you are on stage from the time you leave your house. You do not know when you're driving, you might be cut off by somebody who you are interviewing with. So be aware of it. Arrive early. Smile. Remember, people are always watching you. When you arrive, look busy. Meet the receptionist. Try to talk to the receptionist. Generally, the receptionists really know about the company culture and what's going on. Also have a firm handshake throughout the interview process. In the interview, let's talk about what I consider showtime. That's the time when you really can shine. Remember, what you have to do is that you have to sell and market your skill set to the needs of the company. You want to be a consultant to talk about the company issues and how you can solve those problems. When you go into the interview, there are certain things you should be doing. One, make sure all your electronic devices are turned off. You do not need your cell phone ringing in the middle of your interview. Smile. Maintain eye contact. Be aware of your body language. Listen to what the interviewer has to say. If they ask a question and you're not clear about it, ask for clarification. Be confident in your answers. You want to answer questions like, I can do it, as opposed to, I think I can do it. Remember, the interview is a conversation. It's a discussion. It's not an interrogation. In the answers that you provide, they should be brief but to the point. Do not ramble on. Generally, your answers are generally a minute to 2 minutes at most. If the interviewer wants to know more, they'll ask you for more detail. Do not get inundated or inundate the interview with nitty-gritty. Go right to the point and answer the question straight on. Okay. During the process, we know that the interviewer will have lots of questions for you. You could get lists of questions that may be asked at the internet. Go out, take a look at them, try to prepare some answers, but generally there are main questions that will be asked of you. Some of the questions will be, tell me a bit about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you relate to other people? Those are some of the questions. You should be practicing answers that you have for these questions. You would be developing what I call stories or PARs, where in your past experience you've had a problem, you've had an action, and you've created a result. You want to determine prior to the interview on these PARs which ones to use and where you may insert them in the interview process. At the same time, you want to develop questions for the interviewer. Remember, this is a discussion. The amount of time you speak in the interview versus the amount of the interviewer, generally it's equal. You will see how the interview goes, but mainly you want to do a lot of listening. The questions that you would have for the interviewer is based upon the circumstances, but there are some basic ones that you would ask, such as, what are my job responsibilities? How much authority will I have in this position? Do I have a staff? How big will be my staff? How big will be my budget? Is this a newly created position? If it's a position that's been there before, what happened to the prior person? Was the person promoted or was the person terminated? How do you measure success in this position? What would be my charter in the next 90 days? What are the important things that I would have to accomplish in the next 90 days? These are some of the questions that you really want to find answers to. So you will determine if this position is the one for you. Okay. At the end of the conversation, you really want to know what's the time frame for the decision-making process. And you should ask that. Ask the interviewer, where are in this process? When do you expect to have a determination on who the right candidate is? You might also ask, well, in what I've told you at this point, okay, is there anything that you are unclear about? What is the next step we will go to in this interview process? When will be the next step? At the same time, to save yourself a lot of energy and questions, you would ask the interviewer how they'd like to communicate. You know, we all send thank you notes. The question is, am I going to send it in the internet? Am I going to send it, email? Am I going to send a hard copy, a personal note? Ask the question how their preference is. That will save you a lot of energy, and you'll have directions on how to communicate. At the same time, knowing how long the process will help you determine your follow-up. If they're not going to make a decision for about a month, well, call the person who you interviewed, let's say in a week or so. During this process, the job responsibilities or the skill sets may change. As a result of it, if you are early on in the process, you might not have addressed the requirements that they are looking for now. By communicating, let's say after a week or 2 weeks with the interviewer, you may discover that there are other factors now that you have to bring forth to the table. So do it. This is what the interview is all about. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. We will have further sessions on developing your communication and networking skills at My Networking Corner. I welcome your comments and suggestions for future topics. I'm Marty Latman. Enjoy your day.